Welcome to Options Brew TV. I'm your host, Lex, and today we've got a great guest, Dan Pena from San Diego, and he is the head of Echo Trade. So let's bring him out and meet Dan. Good afternoon, Dan. How are you, man?
Great. How you doing, Lex?
I'm doing great. I love the look. I know we talked about it before. You look great. Don't worry about it. Everything's cool. So Dan's the inventor or one of the co-inventors of Echo Trade. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So Echo Trade's a little platform that we're trying to get out there into the world to help people figure out kind of an alternative way of investing. So
okay. So I'm going to have you tell us a lot about it, but give us a little bit about your background first, because I'm reading the bio, and you spent some time in the Navy and the military, right? Give us a little background on Dan and how you ended up where you are right here.
Yeah. So my background, I joined the Navy at 17, graduated high school a year early, did a couple of deployments, one of them being the 2003 Iraqi freedom deployment in the Gulf. My job was a gunner's mate. I specialized in boarding boats, so I kind of equate it to being a U.S. pirate. We took over boats and searched and seized them for weapons of mass destruction. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was learning how to trade stocks and learning how to trade currencies. And so got addicted to that while on deployment, got out of the Navy, went to school, University of San Diego, trying to get my undergrad in finance. And then while I was in college, I was trading still, started trading some of my professors' knees and making, enough on the side to kind of pay for the top ramen. And then I started joining a bunch of trading groups, local, kind of meetups and learning about other strategies and how I can increase my alpha. And what I found, what I kind of ran across was over time, a lot of people start fudging their numbers and claiming they're better than they are. And so my buddy and I, who I had worked with and had a good relationship with, were investing and trading and going to college together. And I came up with this idea called Echo Trade. It wasn't called that initially. It was basically a trade copy platform idea, kind of in its earliest stages, where we would, instead of getting hearsay from how good somebody was trading, it was more around, let me pull your information directly from the broker, tamper free, and then let me create a standardized approach to the performance, and then let me see if you're good. And if you are good, rather than you trying to teach me your strategy, which might be too complicated, I'll just copy it. So that was like the earliest inception of the idea. Then I started doing business plan competitions and winning, and then from there I decided to kind of start running it as a company.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the name, by the way, Echo Trade. It makes sense, right? It's easy for me to understand, right? So how do you find with Echo Trade? How do you find these experts or leaders? I don't know what you call them. What's the right word?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call them leaders. I think they are leaders. I mean, they're experts that are trading. How do we find them? We searched everywhere for good traders, blogs, trading groups, wealth managers. We explored currency markets, futures markets, stock markets. And I think what we found ultimately worked the best for long-term copy following and trading really was in the stock market, with an emphasis on registered investment advisors. So portfolio managers that specialize in picking stocks. And so that's I think that's kind of been our focus now for a few years. Yeah.
So you take these advisors, you vet them, right, to see if they're as good as they say they are. They get into the platform. Now, what's the mechanism for them? So they're going to push their portfolios or their trading ideas, whatever it is. Your self-directed user is going to copy this trade, right?
Yep.
all done through the platform. Is that accurate? How
Yep.
does what's the functionality? How does it all work?
Yeah, the functionality is pretty simple. At a 30,000-foot view, we
Yep.
reach out to the firms and we say, "Hey, listen, you're a wealth management firm
Mhm.
and you manage multimillionaires, right? Chanel families of the world, right?
Mhm.
People that have a lot of money that they want to put to work. But can you do the same thing for the masses?" And they, the answer from them is generally speaking, yeah, we want to work with the masses, but there's an economical barrier that exists, right? They
Mhm.
usually charge assets under management like 1%. And
Yep.
so if you have $5,000, $10,000, there's really no way that they can work with you and actually be in business. So we came up with this model in a way that allows them to create subscription revenue.
Mhm.
So they actually open up an account at a brokerage.
Okay.
We work with Tradier, obviously, and they fund that account with $5,000, $7,000, and they look at their existing portfolio that they have that maybe is like a $500 million portfolio, and they try
Mhm.
to distill it down to its smallest factor, and then they trade it. They eat their own dog food. They actually fund it with their own account money, from their
Okay.
firm, and then you're looking at their performance in a marketplace like setting. And if you like what you see after you learn about the strategy, the details, and whatnot, you could subscribe. And when you subscribe, you're now peeking into their portfolio. You're now taking a look. You're getting notified when they trade, the moment they trade. You're getting notifications on any comments they have on that strategy or from the firm.
Mhm.
And you can look into it. Think of it like a newsletter. We call it like an actionable newsletter
Sure.
because it's kind of a cool little trend or a buzzword. And if you want, you can copy the same trade in your own portfolio, but instead of listening to talking heads on TV and blogs and Reddits of the world, you're talking or listening to a guy or a firm or a girl who's managing hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars for
Mhm.
very wealthy people. In essence, you're kind of doing what the wealthy is doing,
Right.
is listening directly from the horse's mouth on how they would trade, knowing what they know.
Yeah. So does one of your users who's following these folks can they follow multiple people, or is it typically they pick one and just hone in on that person, or they have sort of a smorgasbord of sorts of different folks?
Yeah, we have users with all different types of appetites. I mean, some folks have a few different strategies. You can have as many as you want.
Mhm.
I like the diversification method because it allows me to um, kind of latch on to a few different firms, hear what they're saying, seeing if there's synchronicity in there, in what they're saying and in their actions, which is their trading, and then kind of pick and choose what is maybe the best method for you as an investor, kind of whether or not they're meeting your goals. So we have some
Mhm.
people that are like, look, I'm going to try to beat them. And we have some people that are like, we're just going to subscribe and do whatever they say and do, for the most part. So I think it's just it's open enough for you to kind of determine how, I guess, what best fits you and your
Sure.
investment goals. Yeah.
So do some of these leaders do they delve into the options market, or is it always just stocks and ETFs? Is there a mixture of both?
Right now, it's mostly focused on stocks, ETFs. Options
Mhm.
is coming. There is interest in that. But I think most of the REA community is focused on mostly stocks and ETFs.
Sure.
That seems to kind of be the typical strategy method. But we do have a handful of guys that want to trade options and kind of add a little more protection to the portfolio.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Now, is there a scoring system internally with Echo where these I keep calling them leaders. I hope that's the right word, but where these
Yeah.
leaders are rated so that you as a user can say, "Oh, this guy is rated a 10 out of 10. I want to try that person."
Yeah, we kind of stayed away from the scoring system. I think the scoring system can be a little tricky. I think everybody we don't want to tell you what is best.
Sure.
Some people put more emphasis on cost, or
Mhm.
some people might put more emphasis on risk, and some people might put more emphasis on ROI. I mean, I think what we're going to be doing as a company is adding more filtering and
Mhm.
allowing you to answer a questionnaire to help you figure out what kind of investor you are, and then
Right.
kind of eliminate some of the strategies that probably won't apply based on how you answered those questions. But I don't really want to steer people into trying to figure out what's best for them. I kind of look at it like flowers.com.
Mhm.
If you're going to go to that site and buy flowers, you're there for a specific reason. It might be Mother's Day or graduation or what have you. I don't
Mhm.
want to kind of steer you towards one bouquet.
Right.
I would kind of rather you understand your attributes and kind of
Mhm.
like what your risk profile is, and see if we have something that would work for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So do you also have, do any of these leaders, do they ever do short only strategies where they're bearish, or is it mostly long only sort of stuff for the
Mostly it's long only. I think we will get into more margin trading style stuff, where
Mhm.
there's leverage there and there's more risk. I think what we kind of looked at as a company was, after the years in space where we worked with some of the biggest firms in the world, and what we saw was what we hoped to see was a strong correlation between leverage and performance and longevity.
Mhm.
That you can be in a highly leveraged space and make money over the long haul. We just didn't really see that, if
Mhm.
I'm being completely honest. And so I think a large portion of that was leverage. I think leverage can be very dangerous,
Mhm.
um, which is why we really wanted to focus on registered investment advisors as kind of being the leader, as you're saying, because they're all in, they're fully vested in this space.
Yep.
This is what they do for a living. This isn't a side hustle or a hobby.
Right.
So I think if I was gonna put strategies on here, that has leverage, I would want it to come from them. But even
Mhm.
still, I have had people trade, and I just haven't seen that performance. And I think what we're really trying to aim for is helping people reach retirement goals or
Sure.
reach investment goals, which I don't know how much of a role leverage plays in that, quite frankly.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we're open minded, we're looking, but I think
Yep.
you know
Mhm.
just
Makes
trying to
sense.
blend. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about pricing. You don't have to be super specific, but generally, how does the leader make his or her money? What's
yeah.
the cost to your user? Um, you know, Generally, how does that play out? How does someone get involved with this from a financial standpoint?
Yeah, so it's easy, right? You go to the platform, you go to our main website, ecotrading.com, you register, you create an account,
Hmm.
you're going to be redirected to the platform, which is marketplace.ecotrading.com.
Okay.
And then when you log in, you're going to see the marketplace, and you're going to see all the available strategies. Every firm that we work with, we work with 20 some firms, and have, I think, maybe 30-ish strategies on the platform,
Okay.
and growing. But we allow the RAA firms to determine their own price on the strategy.
Okay.
It's their IP, it's their kind of knowledge. We want that to be kind of fair market driven, price
Hmm.
wise. If there's value in it, people will pay. If there's not enough value, they'll lower the price, and they'll have that flexibility to do so. I
Hmm.
think generally speaking, the price to subscribe is around $20.
Okay.
Um, but it can go as low as $5, and we've seen as high as 65, $70, something like that per month.
Okay. Okay.
It's a monthly fee. I think at some point we'll be offering an annual, subscription, so you can subscribe for the year and take like a 10 or 15% discount,
Sure.
pay front type thing. But yeah, generally speaking, everybody is allowed. When I say everybody, I mean the REA firms
Hmm.
get to choose their own pricing. So when you kind of log in, you'll kind of see what they think that value is worth.
Oh, that's cool. And then, so you get some part of their fee for Echo, and then
Yeah, yeah.
your cut. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
you
we
get
take like a processing cut,
got it.
technology fee, if you will. So we're very closely partnered with them,
Hmm.
while also trying to be agnostic and not trying to. We don't pick sides on which REA firm we would prefer anybody to subscribe to. We think that they're in business for the long hauls. I mean, we have firms that have been around for over 30 some years, 40 some
Hmm.
years. And so, managing anywhere between a few $1,000,000 to billions. And so,
Right.
it kind of spreads the whole gamut, and you get to learn about the advisors and the firms and the
Right.
strategies and choose
Yep.
for yourself. Yeah.
That's cool. So it kind of you kind of get the kind of best of both worlds, right? You get access to the RIA community, and you're able to do it yourself, which I love.
Totally.
Right. So that's really cool. I haven't seen much like that in the marketplace. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think what's exciting about us is if you look at the REA community as a whole, they're
Mhm,
antiquated. I hate to say it, but they are. I mean, they don't exist on a mobile phone. I'm not going to
mhm,
get notified real time when they trade. If my money's managed by them, I'm not really in the loop.
mhm.
you know
Right.
with Echo, you're going to be able to track every move they make in their account and see what they're saying real
Mhm,
time. Like when SV Bank had their issues,
mhm.
we were getting posts directly from guys that are managing hundreds of millions of dollars, on how they view the market, right?
Yep.
And these guys are moving gigantic portfolios. So
Right.
it's kind of like you're getting that, you're peeking behind the curtain and seeing what the big boys are actually thinking and then
Mhm,
doing, which
mhm.
is which is very special. And
Sure.
you're getting that feedback real time
That's
um,
awesome.
in your phone.
Yeah.
So I
So
think,
you get alerts, Dan?
yeah,
You can get alerts. You can set yourself, hey, if this person does that, I want to know about it. Boom, pops it up.
yep, we're coming out with our mobile app in about a month and a half or so. It'll be released on the iOS store or the
Mhm.
Apple store.
Yep.
And then we'll be coming out with an Android app as well. But yeah,
Cool.
you're going to get your notifications real time. You can kind of set it and say, hey, every time they do a post, notify me. Every time they do a trade, notify me. You hit that notification, you go right to your portfolio and you copy the trade if that's what you want to do,
Sure.
or you read the comment that they just posted. So
Nice.
it's closing the gap of, you look at these firms like Jeffries
Mhm.
and Hightower. Everyday people don't even know who these names are. These aren't
Yeah.
household names really, but you and I do because we're in this world.
Right.
You know, that's all about to change. People
Mhm.
are now going to have everybody's going to have access to these firms, and in a meaningful, actionable way,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
without and we're incentivizing the REA to do this,
Mhm.
and the subscriber is getting a massive benefit in terms of who they could be listening to rather than what they've been listening to, which I don't think has been working that well for them.
Right. Right. Do you find that a typical user does that person trade a little bit more in this kind of environment, or not about the same? Because it's
No,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's a
Go
great
ahead.
question. So, I mean, I get that question a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna subscribe to somebody who's just trading constantly and have to constantly echo these trades, and the answer is no. When we were in, alternative assets and looking
Mhm.
heavily at these traders and their activity, I mean, we had traders. Oh my God, we had traders that were doing 400 or 500 round turns in a day,
Oh my
and
god.
you would have to automate that trading
Right.
in order to keep up. And even then, you're getting different fill prices, and you're not matching performance. And we had to build a customized solution to handle that, like an
Mhm.
institutional block order management system for execution purposes. And that was really cool what we built, but it was just overkill, I think. And it didn't correlate into making more money, right?
Mhm.
If anything, I think they kind of lost more. And
Sure.
so we have been monitoring the REA community very closely. They don't trade that often. I mean, maybe a
Yeah.
couple times a month they'll move some things around in their portfolio, but they make money. So far that we've seen some really great performance, and
Right.
given in this market even. And so I think that it's easier to subscribe and echo when it's that way, and then it also translates into giving yourself a better chance at longer term success.
Mhm.
You're turning your account less. I think that's kind of the way to go. And that's
Okay.
what we're seeing. I'll just kind of show you pretty basic stuff. I mean,
Okay.
this is an account that I have kind of just as an example. It's not,
Sure.
I don't have a whole lot going on here as an actual user.
Yep.
But this is just an easy walkthrough. Once you've registered on echotrading.com, once you've created an account, it's free.
Mhm.
Um, when you first log in, you can't see it here, but you'll have an Echo reward, and you'll be able to get your first month free when you
Okay.
subscribe to Strategy, of anyone that you pick. But at the dashboard, when you log in, that's what's going to load up. If
Mhm.
you have any connected accounts, right now we're partnered with Tradier.
Mhm.
So if you have an account at Tradier, you want to open up an account at Tradier. Once you've done so, you can log in with your account credentials, and you'll be able to see how many trading accounts you have And then that way you can take one of those accounts and link it to a subscription, so that whenever you get notified on a new trade, you can echo that same trade in your trading account. But anyhow, when you log in, you'll be able to see how your account equity balance is going, and then you'll be able to see all the different firms that are doing posts, right?
Cool.
And then again, this is directly from the horse's mouth. This is them kind of giving you an eye view of what they're seeing in the market taking place, right? And this is all for public consumption for free.
Nice.
So if nothing else, you can at least come here and check in on what they're saying, which is really cool.
Nice.
If you want to dive a little bit deeper, you go to Marketplace and you load up on strategies right out of the gates. And in strategies, you can kind of see the current performance that they're getting right now. And then you can see the different strategies, how much money they're currently trading to achieve that result, how much they're charging per month, what firm is offering this, and then you can dive into kind of deeper details. And you have some filtering options here, so you can kind of find something that fits you better, right?
Sure.
As an investor. You can click over here to firms, learn about all the different firms, see how much money is being managed. Again, everybody has their preference. And I talk to friends and they're like, well, if they manage more money, that must mean that they're better. Okay, maybe. If they have more strategies, maybe they're more aggressive, or they're better at trading. Okay, maybe. I don't really know. I think it just comes down to what you think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Advisors, you can see all the different advisors that are offering portfolios on our platform. And so let's go back to strategies. Let's say I'm interested in this Fisher one because I'm ROI driven, and right now these guys seem to be doing the best. So I dive into details. I can learn all about the portfolio that they have, why they trade it. It's in stocks, it's medium risk, it's manual trading. Fisher Investments, they're based out of New York. They manage $325 million. Here's all their SEC registration information, some of the performance metrics. And then as you subscribe, you actually unlock certain posts, specific to this strategy. So that's paid content. So right now you're kind of getting what everybody can see. But let's say I want to learn more about Jared, to dive in here. Here's where he went to school, his experience, a little bit more about him, and then any other portfolios that he's associated with. Once you've kind of gone to the subscribe and you decide this is what I want to subscribe to, you just put in your payment information, you subscribe, and then you'll be able to see that in your subscriptions. I don't have any right now, but you can see that in your subscriptions. And then you can see what's actually in the portfolio. And then once you've linked your account to that subscription, you can copy the trades.
So you copy the trades, obviously not in their size. You copy in your own size. So you have the ability to do a default for yourself based on your equity, right?
Yeah, you have the ability to do a 1-for-1, so you can match share for share, or you could do it percentage based, right? So if if they're trading $5,000, I'll kind of go back to that. So let's go back to the marketplace. If he's trading $5,000 and he has one share of Tesla, I'll just give you an example. I don't know what he's actually trading. And you have $100,000 and you're still paying $20, you're going to do 20x that, right? So you'll have 20 shares for every one that he has. That'd be a percentage match. But yeah, so you can do it that way, or you can just go, no, I'll just do one share. It's up to you. Or you can kind of pick and choose what you want to echo. And then if you have any questions on how the platform works, you can kind of go into tutorials and it walks you through everything step by step. So it couldn't be easier. I think, the whole point is that we really kind of built this for the masses. You could say this is, arguably for the person that is, an active investor, an active trader. I argue against that. I see this as a platform for the stay-at-home mom. Somebody where the husband goes to work, husband's working, he's not monitoring the markets and trading, researching, right? He's a teacher, he's a real estate agent, he's whatever he is. But maybe that mom can go in here and research and, look into the portfolios and be echoing the trades as being notified and doing pretty well. So I think we kind of built it for the everyday person, kind of look at it as like the jitterbug phone of investing, if you will. We really don't want to overcomplicate anything, quite frankly. It's kind of like, my partner and I, Jeff Roth, we always laugh. It's like each and every day, we all have to retire. We all have to invest.
Right.
And the market's constantly changing. The news is constantly changing. And everybody is taking this financial test daily, but nobody's going to class. So how the heck are they going to possibly get a good grade? And so there's always that one smart kid in the room who's always studying. This is what they do. And for $20 a month, I could just peek over and copy his answers. I
I
mean,
love it.
her answers.
And it's legal.
And it's legal. So it's like, what am I doing? Why am I, if I've got money on the line and I'm going to go put money and bet against me shooting a free throw, why wouldn't I, pay for a professional NBA player to take the shot for me?
Yeah.
Same concept, anything else, right?
No, it makes sense. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love for you to get into the options pace of this too. I know that's coming. That would really put a nice little twist to this as well. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, options it's one of those things. I actually really like options. I think it gets to be a little complicated for somebody that's actually trying to learn it for the first time,
Right.
But it's a really smart way of being an active trader and generating some real capital. But I think it's a lot easier if you could just copy the guy who's doing it successfully.
Yep.
I don't think we'll ever get into any kind of writing options, but we'll probably buying options is something we'll probably get into.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's nice. God, that's great. I love it. I love it. You're right though. It's the product is clean. It's easy to understand. I love, always the best, right?
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, I think the challenge that I've noticed with people is it's like I tell them what I do. I tell them what we're trying to do, and they hear finance, they hear investing, and they glaze over.
Yeah.
And then they're fearful, and they're like, I don't know that. That's not my space. And I'm telling them, I know you don't know that. That's why I built it the way that we did.
Right.
And when I show them and they see it's as simple as just clicking a button and they copy the trade, it's done. The aha bulb goes off.
Right.
I think the credibility factor of following a wealth management firm that does this for a living, I think, is the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
no, I agree. I think that's awesome. And you've only been doing this. It just launched fairly recently, right? So you're just really getting going. Is that right?
Yeah. We worked with a lot of firms, and we had positioned Echo Trading more as a white label B2B SaaS product. Yep. And we were working with big firms like RJ O'Brien and Cannon Trading, Phillip Capital. There's a whole bunch of firms that we were working with. We had some success with those guys, but coming out of COVID, actually going into COVID, that was an absolute chaotic time, right? This is a time when nobody was allowed in the office. So we're constantly calling our brokers in Chicago, asking how things are going, and they're not allowed to go to work, which is where their computers are, which is what's connected to the markets to manage risk. And people are going, the markets are going crazy and we have no control. And so they're literally going to calling us from like Fry's and Best Buy, buying all the computers, and the IT departments are going, I can't give you access to a Fry's computer to the open market because it's against regulation and all of our, risk policies and procedures. And we're just going, oh my God, this is not good. And then crude went negative and everybody's mind exploded.
Great timing, right?
Yeah. And so we kind of looked at that and said, okay, how can we do what we're doing better and how can we mitigate risk for our end users who are really trying to build wealth here? Rather than reading the stories of guys who opened up a $60,000 account, bought a ton of contracts of crude at $1, and they went dead at $7 or $8 million. I mean, that's not going to work. So how do we make this? How do we our goal is how do we get people from where they're at today to where they have to be 20, 30 years from now?
Right.
And I guess from just experience, I just realized you got to be with the registered investment advisor. That's just all there is to it. I mean, those guys, that's what those guys do. It's like having a transmission issue and going to your neighbor down the street to fix it. And you go to the transmission person who does that every single day. And so, but the problem is there's this huge gap of capital of assets that needs to be built. And so that's kind of where I think we saw a fit for us and helping people get from where they're at today to this point where they can actually become a managed client, and that might be $500,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
So try to keep it simple, stupid all along the way.
Yes. Do you think that some of the side benefits, I don't know if it's a benefit or not, but if someone gets involved with a particular leader and they like the leader and they're doing well, would they technically put more money toward the leader, meaning, hey, manage my money. I've been doing myself with my 15 grand. but now I want to give you a couple hundred, Mr. Leader, and go do your thing without me.
That's certainly the goal, right? And I think
Okay.
REAs have an interesting problem,
Yeah.
right? The REA community has got what we've heard is a succession issue. They're putting a lot of emphasis and focus into the boomers, right? Who have
Yep.
all the wealth, right? And the boomers are starting to pass away, and that wealth is getting dispersed and fragmented, and it's going to the heirs. But the REA firms don't have the relationship with those heirs because they don't have the money yet. And so when those heirs receive that money, they go away. And the REA community is going, well, how do I build a relationship with those heirs in a way that is worthy of our time, right? Because time is money and they got a business to run. And right, how do we do this effectively? And so a lot of the REAs that we're working with are looking at this as a really great farming system for them, or a brand value building platform for them. So bucket A would be I can manage your money, and bucket B, right now there is no bucket B. It's I can't work with you if I can't manage your money. There's nothing else I can provide you. Echo Trade is kind of becoming that bucket B. So it's like, hey, listen, if I can work with you, I will. But if I can't, you could subscribe to me and my strategy in this form factor.
Right.
Still get a lot of the information that your old man's getting, and then copy kind of what I'm doing if that's what's going to fit you. If not, there's other strategies on there that might fit you better. But ultimately, when you become big enough, I can bring you on as a formal client. But all the meanwhile, at least you know what it is I'm doing.
Sure. No,
and,
I like that.
And I think that's kind of a really big value add for that industry in that space.
Right.
Which I think is very needed. And then also the whole technological barrier, which is, them not being on a mobile phone, is kind of just kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Any sort of hurdles from the advisor side that you see? I mean, is there any sort of pain points at all for them?
As far as being on the platform?
Yeah, I don't know. Do some people say I don't want to do that because it disrupts my business a little bit? I don't know. I'm just
I mean, we've heard this talk about cannibalization. We don't want to put our institutional portfolio on Echo because we feel like it cannibalizes our existing business, and kind of laugh at that a little bit. It's like, listen, you've been working as an REA. We tell them for however long, decades. You are only able to focus on the top 1%. The rest of the 99% have no idea you even exist. And that's all missed opportunity. People you could be helping. We get often RAA saying, I'm tired of making rich people richer. I mean, I'm happy to do my job for them. That's my job, but it'd be really great to spread the wealth. Right.
Sure.
And so the reality is when an RAA goes and kind of micro machines or miniaturizes their existing portfolio into an Echo portfolio, it's close to the same strategy that they're offering at the institutional level. It's not pound for pound the same thing. It's not going to execute the same time. So technically it is a different IP portfolio, but I kind of look at it as, even though it's not exactly the same, it's the decision maker that's behind it, that's buying and selling, that I care about. That's the guy that's going to win. That's the guy that has the education, that is all in this world and space. And so it's like, if I give Roger Federer a target, racket, he's still going to whoop me all up and down the court. Right. So it doesn't have to be the exact Wilson racket that he's always played with to win. It's the guy behind, it's the decision maker, it's the driver. And so I think once RAAs kind of figure out, this is something very specific for Echo, and I'm not doing that, they get over that anxiety of, I'm cannibalizing something. You're not cannibalizing anything. You're always going to have your top tier clients that are going to expect you to do everything for them. And you got 99% of the world that has zero access to you, that you're not making a dime off of. So let's change it.
Yep. Good. I love it. Love it. Awesome. I love it. So people can find you at Echo Trading. Is that right? .com?
Yeah. EchoTrading.com. And they can send me an email, Dan@Perfectna. So Perfectna, think of Perfectna as kind of the parent company. It's like Microsoft. Microsoft has Excel, Word, right? Echo Trade is one of our products. So you can find me at Dan@Perfectna.com, spelled PERFECTNA.com.
Yep. Yeah. I'll put that in the finished product. So we'll have a little streamer. So good, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. This was awesome. How long do you think we've been talking? 35 minutes. Didn't it seem like that was fast?
Very fast. Yeah. You're a great host.
It's amazing. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
No, that was great. I love the concept. I mean, I think it's awesome. I really do. Very clever. So I'm glad.
Thank you.
I'm glad it's launched, and we're going to get it to the next level. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Lex. Thank you for your time, man.
Thanks, Dan.